Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about how you can get your Canadian visitor's visa in under 2 weeks. Yes, please like, subscribe and share this information because I know it's going to be useful to so many people. Okay, let's get started. So I'll be talking about 3 or 4 categories of people who can apply to Canada for their visitor's visa. The first category of people I'll be talking about are those who have a valid US visa. Second category of people I'll be talking about are those who have extensive travel history. And the third are those who have family members in Canada or close friends who are on permanent residency status or are citizens of Canada. So I will be focusing on these 3 categories. So if you fall into any of these 3 categories, please continue following. So we'll be starting with the first category, those that have a US visa. Guys, if you have a US visa and you have not applied for your Canadian visa, you are on a long pain. Please make sure that you apply for your Canadian visa because having a US visa on your passport makes it about 80 to 90% confirmed that you are going to get your Canadian visa if you apply. So those who have a valid US visa, right, you're eligible for what is called Canada Plus, CAN Plus. So what that means is if you submit your Canadian visa, once you have a valid US visa, it means that your visa will be on the fast track, meaning that you will get a response from the Canadian embassy within a week or 2 weeks, or at most probably a month. So you're on an accelerated path to getting your Canadian visa. And those who have a US visa already, you just have to do few things to get your Canadian visa. So if you have a US visa and you have not applied for your Canadian visa, please start that process today. You will get your visa and you will get it very early. Okay, even if you haven't been to the US before, even if you have not used that visa, okay, you haven't traveled to the US before, as far as you have that visa, okay, please apply to Canada. Second category of people I'll be talking about are those who have extensive travel history. So right now, Canada is denying a lot of people visitors visa. But if you have extensive travel history, and what makes up for extensive travel history? If you've been to other countries in which you require a visa to go into and you have been granted visas in those countries, for instance, the UK, Schengen countries, yes, those count as good travel history. Probably you've been to some Asian countries as well, maybe Middle East countries as well, or some African countries, a few of them, in which you need to apply to get a visa, okay, and you have travel history in those places, then you're also on a good track to getting your Canadian visa. So if you, for instance, I'm shooting the video for Nigeria, right? So if you visited maybe some other West African countries, Benin Republic, Togo, Ghana, unfortunately those don't really count as sufficient travel history. If you just want to leverage on that and apply for your Canadian visa, no, you need more. Maybe if you've been to the UK, you've been to France, and other countries like that. The third category I'm going to talk about are those who have been invited to Canada by their family member or their close friend who are permanent residents or citizens of Canada. So guys, if you know a family member, your brother, your sister, or a close friend in Canada, who is a PR or a citizen, they can invite you, or they can write a letter for you inviting you to Canada to visit. These 3 ways are the surest ways of getting your Canadian visa. Okay, so if you don't fall into any of these categories, what can you do? Okay, you don't have a US visa, you don't have travel history, you don't have anybody in Canada. Unfortunately, if you're applying from Nigeria, if you don't fall into any of these 3 categories, reality check, your chances might be a bit low. So if you can find a way to fit into any of these categories I've spoken about, it will greatly help your chances. Some people also want to go to Canada for maybe you to attend a conference or to attend a training. That's also one very valid reason for going to Canada, in which you will be given a visa. However, if you are attending a conference, make sure that you're not just going to a conference to sit down and just participate. If you are maybe leading one of the sessions at the conference, or you are doing something actively in that conference. You're not just an attendee, but you are actually participating. That is actually a good sign, and and that really counts to helping you get your Canadian visa. So I've spoken about these various categories now, right? So if you don't fall into any of these categories, not saying your visa will not be approved, I'm just saying find a way in which you can put yourself into any of those three categories I've spoken about. Okay, now there are people who, you may have a very good job, you're earning a lot of money, you have a lot of money in your account, but you've never traveled out of Nigeria before, and the first place you want to go to is Canada for tourism. You will most likely be denied, even if you have 50 million naira in your account. Sorry to say, but Canada, they are really strict right now on visa rules and all of that. So that's why, even though a lot of people look like they have good profiles, financially they are good, they have good ties to Nigeria and all of that, but you haven't gone anywhere before and the first place you want to go to is Canada, you will most likely be denied. Now, if you're going to be applying for your Canadian visitors visa, just go online and look for the IRCC portal. Okay, that's the portal in which you can apply for your Canadian visa. We're going to be talking about the documents that you need. Number one, I'll be talking about your proof of funds. Okay, proof of funds. Everybody must submit a document for their proof of fund. Okay, when you get how do you want to finance your stay in Canada, your holiday, your visit, whatever it is, how do you intend to finance it? You need to submit either your bank statement or your mutual funds account statement. Yes, you can use your mutual funds account statement. I know there are a lot of people who don't keep large sums of money in their regular accounts, bank account, and they have some money in mutual funds. Yes, there's no problem in using your mutual funds account statement. All you need to do is, if you can attach a letter from your bank saying that your mutual funds account can be liquidated at any time, that's fine. Okay, so you are good to go in that regard. All right, so let's talk about how much do you need to go to Canada and how much needs to be on your proof of funds do you need to show for your proof of funds. Now, I'll just use an example. If you're going to Canada for, say, 10 days, right, you need to show how you're going to what you're going to spend for those 10 days. Now, if you don't have any idea, just use this as a rule of thumb, right? You use 300 Canadian dollars per day that you're in Canada. Okay, so if you're going to be spending 10 days in Canada, right, a good estimate for how much you should spend will be about 3,000 Canadian dollars, excluding your flight ticket. So you add on the cost of your flight tickets, and all of that to put together the full amount that you'll be needing. Now, in your document that you'll be submitting, your bank statement or whatever, should have more than that 3,000 Canadian dollars, for instance, right? So let's say you have 5,000, whatever it is that you're submitting, the equivalence in Canadian dollars is probably 5,000 Canadian dollars. You are good to go. But the higher the amount of money you have, the better your chances, right? So the more money you have, the better your chances. Okay, so another thing to note is that you can sponsor yourself. It's always better if you are sponsoring yourself and your bank statements show your name and all of that. But if you don't have the money, hey, someone else can sponsor you. There's no big deal in that. But whoever is sponsoring you, you will submit that person's bank statement and that person will write a letter as to why they are sponsoring you. Please do not use fake bank statements. You will be caught and you will be banned from going to Canada. So don't think that you can use a fake bank statement and you get away with it. No, you won't. If you don't have the money, just look for a sponsor, someone who is willing to stand in for you as a financial sponsor. Let them just give you their bank statement and write a letter as to why they are sponsoring you. Okay, another thing we are going to be talking about, very important, please, if you're going to fill in your application for Canada, ensure that you write an introduction letter. Very important. An introduction letter states exactly why you are going to Canada. So you need to write down exactly, in that introduction letter. I'm going to drop a link to another video where I show you how to write your introduction letter. So that letter just introduces you, what you are going to do in Canada exactly, why you should be let into Canada, and if you want to attach some documents, on that introduction letter to show that you have ties to Nigeria, or to show proof that you'll be coming back to Nigeria. That letter is very important. On your introduction letter, two things you should always add. Make sure you add your itinerary. Your itinerary is, so using the example of going to Canada for 10 days, right? On your introduction letter, you need to put a table, day 1 to 10, what you will be doing each day while you're in Canada. Very important. So day 1, arrival. Day 2, I'll be visiting Niagara Falls. Day 3, I'm going to the museum. Day 4, we'll be having a family day out. You just need to be very detailed, okay? In a table, why you are visiting Canada, what you'll be doing on each day. Your introduction letter should also carry your cost estimates, how much you intend to spend while you're in Canada. We've spoken about that previously, but you need to give a breakdown. For some people, you can have a breakdown of your flight tickets, your feeding, your accommodation, your tourism, and put in costs for each of those items. Or you can just, as I said earlier, just make an estimation. You estimated that you'll be spending 300 Canadian dollars per day, and you're there for 10 days, making 3,000 Canadian dollars, okay? Another thing, you have to upload information about your business or your employment. If you are a business owner, you have to submit things like your CAC documents to show that you're doing a business, and any other thing that just helps to show that you are actually busy in Nigeria. If you are employed, have your employer write you an introduction letter. In that introduction letter from your employer, ensure they write how much you're earning per annum. Ensure they write details about your passports, your international passport, okay, so that they are sure that you are the one that is being referred to. Ensure they also write, for instance, if you're traveling in August for the summer holidays, they should write, your HR should write in that letter that Damilola has gotten leave, will be on leave in August 2025, and then during her leave, she will be going to Canada. She has been granted leave to go to Canada, something like that. You can also put in your employment letter. Your letter from your employer should also state when you started working with them. You can also include your employment letter. If you've also been promoted at work before, you can include those promotion letters. If you have a work ID card, you can put your work ID card. It just shows that you're a responsible person. Another thing you can actually put in is your tax clearance certificate, okay? If your company, if you pay tax, okay, your company pays your tax and all of that, you can get your tax clearance certificate and actually attach it. It shows that you're a responsible citizen. So those are some of the little things you can do to help strengthen your application. Another way to show strong ties to Nigeria, if you're traveling alone but you have family members in Nigeria, that's a good way. One thing is that if you're married, you have a better advantage over those that are single. Sorry to say this, but it's actually true. Okay, if you imagine you have kids and you have a husband and you're just going to Canada for tourism, it's not expected that you will run away and leave your family behind, right? So people who have a family are, just have that little bit of more advantage, right? But doesn't mean that if you are single, you do not have an advantage. That's not true at all. There are a lot of single people who have, gotten their visas and all of that. So another thing to consider now, if you are not working, you are probably a student and you want to go to Canada. One of the best ways for you as a student, if you want to go to Canada, is if you are visiting a family member. Okay, that family member can can invite you over. They'll write a letter for you. If someone is inviting you from Canada, if you have a family member who's on PR or Canadian citizen status, they will write you a letter inviting you to Canada. Please, guys, the content of that letter matters. Try and appeal, because the people looking at your application are human beings. Appeal to their human side, okay? Be emotional about it. You want to visit someone who you've not seen for, maybe your sibling who you've not seen for 3 years, 5 years, and all of that. Make the letter emotional. Talk about how you miss the person, you want to create memories together. Maybe if your sister in Canada has kids, you've never seen your nieces or nephews before, you've just been talking through video calls, you want to meet them and all of that, okay? That person can also sponsor your visa if you are a student. I mean, it makes sense, okay? Another thing you can do to show strong ties to Nigeria, what else are you doing, in your home country? Are you maybe enrolled in maybe a postgraduate degree studies in Nigeria? You're going to school and you are working. You can't just abandon everything you're doing to travel and not come back. Or you're volunteering in one way or the other, doing some unpaid work, but you're volunteering maybe in an NGO or something that means so much to you, a passion project that you are doing. Guys, write all of these things in your introduction letter. Don't worry, I'll be putting in that other video that talks about your introduction letter. So guys, I will now be talking about how to actually do the application. Okay, when you have all of your documents, please use the new IRCC portal. If you are over 18 years old, it's easier to use. Okay, if you're applying for a Canadian visa and you don't have a US visa, please note that your visa, it will take about 4 to 6 months for your visa to come out. So if you want to travel in 6 months time to Canada, the best time to start applying is now, actually, because you will not get that visa until the next 4 to 6 months. Okay, so how do you apply? When you've logged into your IRCC portal, you've created your profile and all of that, you put in all of your information. There's a place, if you have a US visa, there is a place where you will be asked to take a picture of your US visa and post it, right? But if you don't have a US visa, you can just continue posting your other documents. It's very easy to use. You don't need to use an agent. It's very self-explanatory and all of that, where you put in all of your information. If you have traveled to a lot of other countries before, please attach pictures of where you've been to before. For instance, you've been to 4 or 5 countries before and you took pictures there as a tourist. Attach those, put those pictures in a PDF document, okay? Or your passport stamps, or you have even expired visas of other countries you've been to before. Take pictures of all of those things with photos of where you've traveled to before and put it in a document. It shows that you have extensive travel history. That is how you show them. Because for Canada application, you do not submit your international passport to them. No, they just cite your international passport when you go for your biometrics. So if you are telling them that, oh, I've been to UK, I've been to France, I've been to Japan, how would they know this? Only if you put pictures and you put passport stamps and pictures of your visas to those other countries. You can attach them to your introduction letter, right? Very important. Now, when you're done, if you're applying a loan, the costs for your visa is about 100 Canadian dollars and the cost for your biometrics is about $85. So in total, you'll be spending about 185 Canadian dollars. Please note that you cannot use a Nigerian Naira card to pay on that platform. You need an international card. Canadian dollar card or US dollar card will work. So if you don't have an international a card that it's in a foreign currency, you might want to ask anybody to pay for you, and you can just reimburse them, in one way or the other. It doesn't matter if you're the one paying or someone else pays. Whoever pays, it doesn't matter. They are not looking at the name of the person that's paid for you. All right. So after paying, on your IRCC portal, you will get an email. You get an email on your email address telling you that you should go to your IRCC portal about 24 to 48 hours after you have paid. Then on your IRCC portal, you will see a message there that says it's a biometrics letter message. It's a message that has an attachment, which is your biometric letter. That letter, you will take that letter with you to the VFS office, in the Canadian VFS office, wherever you're applying from. I'll just give an example. If you're applying in Lagos, Nigeria, the VFS office in Lagos is in Lekki. Okay, so you go with that biometrics letter to the VFS office. But before you do that, once you've downloaded the biometrics letter, you now go to the VFS Canadian website. Okay, you can just do a Google search, VFS Canadian website, and then from there you would have to book an appointment. You can't just show up at the VFS office to submit your passport for citing and your biometrics. No, you have to book an appointment. So on that VFS website, you would open you will log in and open an account and then look for a date for you to go and do your biometrics. That website is a bit funny. For instance, if you're one of the issues I had was If you are just logging in and you're creating an account, one of the issues is that if you type in your password, that website generates another password for you, so it can be a bit confusing. But just go with your own password. If you've typed in your password and you click on save, your password are saved, all right? Because I struggled with that thing for over 3 days, right? So just go in with your password. Now, when you have successfully opened a login portal on VFS, you would print an appointment letter on a date that is okay for you. And with your appointment letter, with your biometrics letter, with your original international passports, and 2 photocopies of your international passport, you will go to the VFS office. Okay, they will give you a time. If your appointment is 12 noon, you can get there at 11:30. You don't need to be there from 8 a.m. waiting. They attend to people based on the time that is on their letter. Okay, and if you are going for biometrics and you don't go with a letter, you will not be allowed in. So what is biometrics? They will just take your fingerprint and they will take your picture. That's all. They are not collecting your passport. It's not like UK visa where, you know, they are collecting your passport, they are collecting your documents. Nobody is collecting any physical document from you when you're applying for a Canadian visa. So everything that I've been talking about, things you need to attach, you attach it on the IRCC website, okay? You find places to attach all your documents. Nobody is going to that place with a physical document, no. All right. Now, after you've done your biometrics successfully, you will now wait. If you have a US visa, within maybe a week, 2 weeks, or a month at most, you will get a response from the Canadian embassy. But if you do not have a US visa, you will get a response between 4 to 6 months. Let's just say 5 months, right? Now, how do you know if you have been granted your Canadian visa? You will get an email telling you to go back to your IRCC portal. When you get to your IRCC portal and you check the message in there, there will be a letter telling you to bring your passport, okay? To bring your passport to the nearest embassy or whatever, right? That's how you know that you've gotten your visa. If you've not gotten your visa, you will just get a message that says that, sorry, you've not gotten your visa and all of that. No need to submit your passport. But if you're being told to submit your passport, congratulations to you, the visa has been granted. Now, how do you submit your passport? Remember I said that when you went to submit your passport during biometrics, you're going with a photocopy, 2 photocopies of your passport data page. Now, that passport data page would have been stamped on the day of your biometrics. So when you are going back to submit your passport so that they can put your visa on it, you need to go with that passport data page that was stamped. So please keep that document very well. You would also be going with your international passport, of course. You will also be going with that letter that states that you should bring your passport. Now, when you are going to submit your passport, okay, you do not need an appointment. You can just go to VFS office directly and you will be let in without an appointment, okay? If you do not stay close to the VFS center around you, you can do a courier service, DHL, FedEx, whatever. It's all on the VFS website, the address that you're sending it to and all of that, okay? So, for instance, if you stay in Oyo State and you've been asked to bring your passport, I don't expect you to come all the way to Lagos just to submit your passport. No, you can just use DHL and send it, you know, 2-way courier service. They will send it, and when your visa is approved, they'll bring it back to you. So you can do that. But if you're in the same city where the VFS office is, you can just walk in there without an appointment and you will be answered, and it's free, okay? After submitting your passport, you wait about a week, and then you get an email from VFS saying that your passport has been your visa has been approved and your passport is ready for collection, after which you come back to collect your passport at that same VFS office. Or if you use the courier service, it will be couriered back to you, okay? And then you will be given your visa. All right, so that's what it takes to get your Canadian visa. It's an easy process if you know what to do. You don't need an agent to apply to for your Canadian visa. You can do everything yourself. All right, And yes, why are you waiting? Especially if you have a US visa, please apply to your Canadian visa today and you get it. Thank you so much, guys, for staying till the end of this video. I know it's a long one, but I hope you've learned one or two things. If you have any questions, please put it in the comment section below, or you can send me an email. I would reply. Okay, or if you have any other questions on any area that I did not talk about, just send me an email. Okay, please share this video with your loved ones, share with your friends, like and subscribe to this page, please, and share this page. Also follow the Handside podcast. Okay, look for their page on YouTube and follow them. Thank you so much for sticking with me to the end of this video. Thank you. Bye.